The Meditations of Marcus Aurelius are one of the most famous pieces of literature in the world and one of the rarest pieces of text you can get your hands on. It's incredible that they even exist. But something I always hear people say when I tell you to read the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius is they always say you can skip book one, you can skip chapter one. It's sort of pointless, no need to read it. They're not the teachings of Marcus Aurelius. They're just him giving thanks to the gods, giving thanks to the universe, giving thanks to the people in his life for the things he learned from them. And you don't really need to read that, from my grandfather Verus, decency and mild temper. From my mother, kindness, benevolence, and steering well clear of the habits of the rich. This kind of thing. And people say, just ignore that. It's not really his advice. But book one is probably the greatest book in the Meditations. And it's not necessarily what's written, but it's what you can learn from this book. So if you think what the Meditations is, people think it's just the diary of Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Like he got back late from a hard day's graft and he just wrote down my thoughts like, "Dear diary, today I learned this from my grandfather." It's not that. It's not that. It's actually much more than that. Yes, it's a diary. There's literally, the Stoics at the time told you to do certain exercises, and this is Marcus Aurelius doing those exercises right in front of us. We can see him literally becoming a Stoic, following the advice of the great Stoics at that time. So he was being advised from Stoics at that time, and he was doing what he was being told. And we can see it right in front of our eyes. That's why the literature is so amazing, because you can get his education, in a way. You can get the lessons he got in Stoicism by reading his book. So people always say, like, just don't read book one. It's just the things he learned from his friends. It's like him giving thanks. But it's not that. It's the most amazing thing. What book one is this idea of the modeling virtue. And if you look at Marcus Aurelius, he even into his old age, even into sickness, I mean, he was sick for most of his life, but into old age and sickness, and even in the position he was very busy ruling Rome during the golden age. And even he still attended classes, he was still learning. He was always a student of life. And that's what book one is telling us, is we can learn from everyone and everything around us, always. You never know everything, and you can learn from everyone. Even people where you think, I couldn't learn from them, they're an idiot. No, you can still learn from everyone, and you shouldn't be judging people like that. You take book one and you look at how Marcus Aurelius has formatted it. He says, from my grandfather Verus, decency and a mild temper. He wouldn't just write that down willy-nilly and say, I learned this from my grandfather. He reflected on that. In writing it, he's reflecting on it and adapting it to his own soul, his own character. Because this is not just him writing his diary, it's Stoic exercises, the exercise of modeling virtue. So this is what I want you to do. I do this, and it's so helpful. You can do it in everyday practice, the people around you, and you think, you look at how they are in the world, and you learn from them. And I don't even think it has to be virtue modeling. It can be character modeling, You see the way in which people treat the world. You see their enthusiasm in the world. And you can model yourself off that. You see the things you like about people, and you can reflect on your character against that, and you can try to incorporate that into your life. So Marcus Aurelius looked towards his grandfather Verus and said, decency and a mild temper. And he would work on that. He would adapt these things, because you've got to think Marcus Aurelius was doing this throughout his book. He had this closeness with death, and probably had a fear of death, and so he wrote a lot about reflecting on death, because it was him coping. He struggled with anger. We know that Marcus Aurelius struggled with anger, so he writes a lot about anger in his Meditations, because that's him doing the exercises to cope with his anger, to learn how to handle his anger, to understand his emotions properly. So in virtue modeling, what I've started doing, I've done this a while ago and it's so helpful, is I started looking towards the greats, people I admire. Steve Irwin, you know, his passion. I often look towards, if sometimes I'm a bit struggling with like making these videos, I feel a bit flat, I watched one of his videos and the way in which he talked, the passion in which he had for the world and for what he was trying to do for the world, his mission. And I try and model myself off that. I try and adopt that passion. Like Fred Rogers, the care and the lovingness that he had towards educating the youth, and not just the youth, to everyone. And I look at that and I try and model myself off of that. You can do it with fictional characters. You can do it with people around you, teachers, old teachers, friends, loved ones. You look towards the characteristics that you have and you can build a portfolio from this. And that's what book one is. It's a portfolio of characteristics that Marcus Aurelius admired in people, the things he learned from people, and he could reflect on this. But it's much easier to reflect on it when you're looking at that thing staring you in front of your face. They can be the purple thread for you. Now, the purple thread is this idea, as Epictetus said, you know, he wants to be the purple thread. That's why he be a good person and why he steps up a level. Because the purple thread, you know, that went through the toga, there was nice purple, it made the whole toga stand out. It added to the whole thing. But it was just a purple thread. It didn't have to do anything, it was just purple. And Epictetus says, just be purple. And you can just be purple by being good, being that character that stands out, a role model. But you can look towards the other purple threads and you can gain from them. You can learn from them and you can start writing down things. So literally start a little diary and say, from my brother, I learned courage and kindness. From my mother, benevolence, a caring attitude, a focus to the people around me that may be struggling and attending to their needs. Anything like this. I'm just thinking of random ones in my life maybe. And you adapt this into your life. Every day or every so often you can reflect on it and think, how am I standing up against that? And it's not a competition, it's a gift. A gift for you and a gift for the world. If you like the sound of that video and Stoicism sounds pretty cool to you, click this video. It's more Stoicism, more life, how to use Stoicism in your life. Thank you for listening. And thank you for the people leaving reviews on Amazon for my book. It's really great. I think it's helpful for the people that might want to read a book on Stoicism and they're looking around and they see a book that suits their needs. So you don't just write a review that is honest.